Welcome to Synthetic Oil Protection. I am your host Eben, and today is another exciting cold flow test at negative 50 degrees Celsius. We got our Lucas Synthetic 5W-30 racing oil. This has the high zinc. We got our AMSOIL Signature Series 100% synthetic, the best of the best. This one's good for 25,000 miles. This is for city driving. This is for racing. Let's do it. Negative 53 degrees. Negative 51 degrees. Here we go. All right, if you enjoy this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. There's a lot of resources that go into making these videos with the freezer, buying all the lubricants. That really means a lot to me. And now we're gonna give you a little demonstration of what we call the stick in the mud. Hey, and if you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe. Go ahead and tap this little button, and then you're gonna see the notification bell. You're gonna go in here, you're gonna allow it all the settings in the badge. You're gonna go back and you're gonna click this bell and you'll hit all notifications. That way you'll get a notification when I publish my next video. So this is our stick in the mud example. Our stick is our screwdriver. Right here, that's our mud. Here we go. And that's what we call the stick in the mud. And what this shows is the circulation of the oil and how different they are, and how each lubricant is different at different temperatures. Up to 80% of the wear on your motor is during the cold start, so it's very important to have an oil that flows right away when you cold start your car. It's time for the behind the scenes footage. We got our Lucas racing engine oil with zinc. The zinc really helps with flat tappet cams and less wear. And we're going to be testing the AMSOIL racing oil soon. But I wanted to show the differences between the racing oils. So they have a lot of anti-wear packages, stuff like that. And this is recommended for racing only. You wouldn't really want to use it where it's really cold out. Here we go. A little bit of a stickler. There we are. Ooh, a nice dark amber. It's almost got a purple tinge to it. Whoa! We got a spitter. We got a spitter. Got a spitter. Got to be careful how you handle these bottles. And now it's time for our AMSOIL. So we're going to go ahead and give you an up close crack of the AMSOIL 100% synthetic right here. And this is so great because it has 100% synthetic film strength. This keeps your metal parts separated, keeps your engine lasting longer. Like I always say in the channel, longer and stronger. So if you want your car to run longer and stronger, AMSOIL is the stuff to use. And this is what I personally have used in all my vehicles, and good for up to 25,000 miles. Now I know it scares a lot of people, but we got oil analysis on that. And I wanted to kind of show you what this is going to look like under a microscope. So under a microscope, we got these perfectly round molecules. These create a much more complete film. much higher film strength, higher pressure lubricant. Also, when you have 100% synthetic, your oil pressure won't drop as much. So you hear a lot of people, they go, yeah, I get my car up to 220 and just all hell breaks loose. The oil pressure loses and all that. Well, when you run this stuff, you're not going to lose the same oil pressure as a mineral oil. So the mineral oil is basically a refined oil from the earth. It's got all these jagged shapes. It does a lot more wear to your pistons or cams, and also it carbons a lot quicker too. So basically it gets thicker, and this is basically what sludge would look like under a microscope. You got all this thick black sludge, and now we're going to go ahead and crack open the liquid gold. So pure, so clean. I tell people it's almost untouchable. And now for my favorite part, the tall pour. Now I know you're curious, does this have zinc and phosphorus? It does. Different levels, but not as much as a racing oil. And that's where you get a lot more protection. So if you were going to be racing, you wouldn't want to run this oil. You'd want to run the Dominator racing oil, which we're going to show soon in future videos. So definitely subscribe, tap that notification bell. We're also going to be doing these oils too. But let's go ahead and get this in the deep freeze and get these suckers negative 50 degrees Celsius. Inside the cryogenic freezer we go. Now for the price, which I'm sure you're curious, is 20 bucks from Lucas. And this is their new additive package right here, 20 bucks. And the AMSOIL, I'm sure you're all wondering how much the AMSOIL costs. The AMSOIL right here is actually quite a bit less than free. And it actually becomes that because you're not always changing this oil all the time. This oil, you're good for 15,000 miles of severe abusive track driving, beating the living hell out of your car. This stuff right here is good for 15,000 miles. And if you don't believe it, we got oil analysis to prove it up here in the corner. Check them out. We got Hamlet's Challenger, which he ran the 5W-30. And we also got another Challenger too. We've done a lot testing this oil, and I couldn't believe it in the beginning before I put it in my Corvette. I thought it was total BS, and I'm like, there's no way there's an oil good for 25,000 miles. Well, I found out otherwise. So the biggest limiting factor on oil is going to be your filter. So you can run these, but make sure you're always checking your oil filter. Make sure you change that oil filter a little sooner than you think, because sometimes they can collapse and stuff like that. So watch your filters. And we're going to be doing, of course, our Schaefer's 9000, which we've already done some videos on Schaefer's. Check those videos out up here in the corner. And these suckers are coming up next. We're going to be doing the AMSOIL Signature 040 versus the Schaefer's. So definitely subscribe. You're going to want to stick around. And I wanted to mention one more thing that kind of separates these different products to film strength is, if you think a cold start is actually the moment you start your car the next day, all this oil settles down to the bottom of your oil pan, and it has to circulate quickly. And you want a product that keeps a better film strength, keeps that film on the metal. You also want something that circulates right away, and it's going to allow your starter to last longer. Your battery's going to hold up better because you're not drawing as many amps when you start your car. And I always use the demo with the sandpaper. That's what you're doing when you starve your bearings of oil. So when you cold start your car and the oil doesn't circulate, as it gets older and oxidizes, the oil really changes a lot. So what you're seeing on these tests isn't the best case scenario. You're actually seeing when it's brand new, once the oil's like a couple thousand miles old, it really thickens and oxidizes, especially if you use a mineral oil or something that's more like a synthetic blend. And you'll see the name full synthetic. It's actually not full synthetic. Full synthetic, the name can actually be 25% synthetic, and the rest, 75%, could be mineral oil. So it's a very tricky thing when they say full synthetic, and it's the same thing as juice. If you think of fruit juice and stuff like that, it'll say so much from concentrate and so much from water and purified water, and it's not even real juice. and that's the same thing with motor oil. So I always wanted to mention that. If you want to try the AMSOIL products, you can go ahead and use my link. It's right down here. If you're on a laptop, desktop, click show more. If you're on a smartphone, you're going to see a whoop, little teeny weeny down arrow. You're just going to hit that sucker and you're going to see all this description section down there. You can get the AMSOIL products through my personal link. The PC membership will save you about $33 on a $100 order, so that'll really save you a lot of money. And then when you use my link, I'll be your AMSOIL dealer. I can answer all your questions in the future. Always happy to talk with you and talk lube. And that's what we're going to be doing a lot more on the channel. So we will see you back next time right here on synthetic oil protection. Go ahead and check this playlist here. This one's on a lot of good cold flows. Check out this one on the differential cold flows. And we will see you back next time right here on synthetic oil protection. Cheers to protection, protection, protection.